All right, I think I'm finally connected. I had a little bit of issue earlier, but I think everything is going smoothly now. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Make It With Me Monday. Excited to show you some new product tonight. We had a release in the online exclusives, and I had some of them already. You might have noticed me posting some things about some swaps that I was working on, and I can show you now some of the product that I was using on those. So that's pretty exciting. So let me go over some of this really quick before we get started on our project for tonight. So there's a couple of suites in the collection. This one is called Marbled Elegance. It's got this really pretty marbled designer series paper, a stamp set with matching dies, and again, some of them do some things on their own. Some of them cut out images from the set. This little gift bag combo pack, so you can make some really cute little treats for Valentine's Day. These little gold adhesive backed hearts. So these are super flat, just like if you've had the doves and dragonflies that were in the online exclusive. These are super flat, just like those guys are. And then this twisted gold thread, a nice pop of color and sparkle that you can add to your projects without a lot of bulk. Thread is always one of my favorite things to work with, thread and twine. Now this is one that I was super excited about. Otters are one of my absolute favorite animals ever, and I was so excited to see this product. The DSP is so cool. Lots of great otter images, and a lot of it can be either die cut or fussy cut, so you can have all kinds of just individual pieces with otters on them. Like, oh my gosh, how cute is that? All right, my live presentation tonight will have a little something to do with the otter stamp set that you see right here. They have these Riverside irregular pearls, which add a little bit of fun. And then this really awesome soft cording. It's kind of like satin, and it's in the Lost Lagoon color. Then there's a Happy Hibiscus bundle. So it combines with, this is a hybrid embossing folder, which means the dies, these dies right here, will work inside the embossing folder. So you will cut out and emboss and die cut right away these three big flowers, and you'll have the rest remaining just as embossed pieces. You don't have to use the dies, of course, then you'll just end up with the whole entire thing with the embossing. And they work again with some of the flowers that are in here along with some bonus dies. Then one of the other things you might have seen in my preview when I was working with my swaps is this one right here. It's called Classic Wedding. So what I was doing was I was creating the backside of the car with the little, the cans and the Just Married banner. That was in some of my swap stuff. There's this really cute one here called Umbrella Days. So you've got like people in there with their little umbrellas and rain boots and clouds and puddles and grass. That's kind of fun. A new embossing folder. It's called a Herringbone. And then we've got these three standalone stamp sets, which are so really cute. This one is a big background stamp called Among the Swallows, and you'd be able to use that in pieces and parts as well, but it makes a really pretty background. Then there's sharing, loving, and crafting. So some great little verses to put on some of the things that you might be gifting or sending. And if you do any of your items to sell, just be aware there's a copyright stamp in here that you can use on the products that you are selling, projects, I should say, that you are selling. So for example, when I go to my craft fairs, they have all the copyright, they're all stamped with that copyright stamp, and I'm giving credit where credit is due for all of the artwork and design and all that kind of things, because Stampin' Up! Is the owner of that copyright. And then this one is really cute. So perfect pairs. You've got milk and cookies, salt and pepper, the puzzle piece, really, really cute, adorable stamp set there. And then this really fun, I forgot to show this part, brushed silver and gold foil. So they come together in the pack, and brushed meaning they have kind of a metallic-y brushed look to them. I have a piece that I can, I used it on one of my samples tonight, and I'll show you what I mean. It's kind of got a grain to it. Then there's another one here called Pretty Petals. So again, comes with dies. And then this is a fun one, Cake Celebrations. Look at all the building you could be doing, making tall wedding cakes and birthday cakes and pretty fun stuff right there. And I think this is a really great tool that they introduced for us. I got one when I went to my convention recently. So it has all of the Stampin' Up! Colors around. And so you can learn how to play with color and building color based on monochromatic patterns, or what goes together when you cross over the wheel. You've got these three sections, that those three colors then would blend really nicely together. It teaches you all about color building and matching. So that was really kind of cool. So feel free to peruse the online store and take a look and see what you've got in there that might be of interest to you. All right, so let me go ahead and get started with tonight's layout. You are going to want to have a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to use Pool Party. And if you didn't quite catch the update, I realized a couple of hours ago that I forgot to list this second piece of cardstock. So don't worry if you don't have it cut. It's a real simple thing to swap in before you finish assembling what you got going on. So a piece that is 2 inches by 4 inches, I'm using Calypso Coral. Your DSP should measure 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. 3 1/4 is your height. And I'm going to use this piece that comes in the Otter DSP. So it has the kind of like the weeds or the tall grasses with little fish swimming through it. And how cute is that? And that's where I got my color combo. So Pool Party, and then the fish are the Calypso Coral. Hi, Laura. Welcome to the show tonight. Then you need a couple pieces of neutral. So you're going to use a 2.5 inch-ish circle, and you're going to use that to have your images. And then a little piece that's 1/2 by 1 3/4 to put your phrase on. And again, go ahead and fluctuate that. If you don't have a phrase that fits, work around the size and length of what you want to use. Okay? All right, so again, if you didn't have this piece cut, don't worry. It's a really easy swap in. You can assemble everything else and then go get that piece of cardstock and add it in and then finish off the card later. All right, so let's go get started on our image. So I'm going to stamp this otter in Memento. Let me get him inked up. And like I said, the otters are one of my absolute favorite animals ever. I think they're super cute and fun, and I would absolutely love to do an otter encounter if that is a thing. Like, oh my gosh, I think that would just be the coolest. All right, I'm going to grab my pecan pie and my crumb cake blends. I'm taking this of the DSP that I saw, and it's kind of the way that they have some of the otters colored. If you want to go darker otter, I would recommend grabbing the darker brown colors that are in the Naturals skin tone collection, the Naturals collection. There's some darker browns in there that I think would work really well as well if you wanted a more brown kind of otter. So their bellies are this little bit of a lighter color. So I'm using my crumb cake there. Excuse me, I have a little dry patch tonight. And then I'm going to come back in with my pecan pie, and I'm going to trace down the edge here a little bit. So I'm going to cover some of that crumb cake, but it's going to blend in then when I do that. And we'll get his little paws. And again, continuing down here into his feet. All right, so we've got our little river otter and or ocean otter. I guess there's kind of different ones. I hear of river otters often in Zachary's YouTube stuff that he likes to watch. He loves Dora the Explorer, and there's a couple episodes where they encounter river otters. So I should look that up and see if they are differently colored or something like that. I could make a specific one just for him. All right, so there is my image on my neutral circle. I'm going to go ahead and put that off to the side. I'm going to grab my little piece here and my coral ink. And on the other side of my block, I have mounted the phrase "Love You Lots," and that comes from that Otter collection stamp set. So there is my "Love You Lots." All right, so that is all the stamping you were going to need to do. Decorate, like I said, decorate your circle for whatever imagery you want. You'll see later as I go through some stuff, I have done some fussy cutting or some die cutting or other things. You don't necessarily have to stamp if you don't, if you have other things that you would like to try. All you have to do is fill up most of that circle. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab my card base. Again, I'm working with Pool Party and Calypso Coral tonight. I picked those right out of my designer series paper. So if you have that piece of cardstock cut, you're going to go ahead and do that part now. And if you don't, then just wait and we'd assemble these other parts first. So as I assemble that, you can see, and then eventually you'll put it up on top of where this goes. So your cardstock basically is just going to go centered in the middle there. Oop, I must have had a little black ink on my fingers. And then you're going to grab that designer series paper. Hi, Tina. Thank you for joining me tonight. Good to see you. Uh-oh, I have a funky roll. Every once in a while, I get a funky one in my refills. Yep, I'm going to go have to get a different refill. It happens almost all the time, right? That there's something I forgot to do, forgot to grab. I should have had an extra refill anyway. Hold on 1 second. Go grab a different one, and I'll replace that and mess around with it later when I have a moment. Because for on-camera purposes, I don't want to hold you guys up. All right, so let's just take this one out. So here's a good tutorial on how to replace your Stampin' Seal in case you've never done it before. That one just pops right out. And you grab your refill, and that'll pop right back in where that one was. And then all you need to do is close it up. Ta-da! Let's see, you're sitting in a parking lot. Oh, your little dancers. Oh my gosh, your grandbabies are so freaking adorable. How fun is that? All right, so here, that DSP is gonna go right over the top of that cardstock. So again, you're centering the cardstock first, then the DSP around it. And if you didn't have that cardstock, hold off on this part here where you're assembling it, and you can just watch and see what I'm gonna be doing. You're gonna take your circle that you have stamped with your images, and that is gonna go in the middle of your DSP. And then I'm gonna grab my little Love You Lots that I had stamped, put a little adhesive on the back side of that one, and that is going to sit off to the side, just like so. Okay, so that is the basic layout. You can, again, play with the phrase size. If you have something that's a little bit wider or longer, play with where that goes, how you want to cut that layer, all that kind of great stuff. And like I said, if you can do this part of the assembly, and then if you want to go back and add that cardstock later, you can just stick it right behind there. All right, so that is the basic layout for tonight. And I think I've shared with you before the Facebook page called Casing Tuesday, so CASE-Tuesday. That is put together by some Stampin' Up! Demonstrators, and what they do is they go through the catalogs and they pick out samples that they like, and then recreate them with sketches and dimensions. So this is the one that this is based off of. It's on page 28 of the Holiday Mini Catalog. So that is where that comes from for tonight. So you can see theirs has a little extra, the sample here has a little bit of extra edging cut. There's different layers. I changed this piece here to a neutral because it's easier for some of us to stamp on, but you might not have embossing materials. But to switch that out, you can add these pieces have been fussy cut and stamped. So lots of great layering and other additions you can make to that particular layout. So let me go ahead and show you some other ones that I did. So again, using that Otter collection, I have some gray granite cardstock, and the back side of one of those pieces has this mottled gray granite look to it. And then I just fussy cut these images out of some of the DSP. So I layered my otters and a river rock and some greenery on that little circle part. And then the phrase in there actually says, "We're cute together," but I shortened it down. That side seems to be coming up a little bit. I shortened it down to just the cute together so that it fit across everything. And then I used one of those pearls I was telling you about before to finish that off. So that one was pretty fun. And you can see I did do that little cut edge like the one in the sample in the catalog that I showed you. Then I took some of the pieces from that wedding car. So this doesn't actually have the car as part of it, but it uses these stamps that are in there, these greenery stamps, and the "on your wedding day" phrase, and then the congratulations phrase also come from that wedding car. So you can use bits and pieces again to do all sorts of different kinds of things. So I took my inspiration for this one from the DSP that's called Country Lace. And as you can see, I grabbed one piece of it in Petal Pink that already kind of has this eyelet pattern on it. I took a different piece. So instead of a piece of cardstock, I have a different piece of that DSP there that I put onto another piece of soft seafoam. And then I ran those two layers together through the eyelet embossing folder. So I'm carrying this eyelet all the way through the whole base of the card. And then I grabbed my Petal Pink ribbon. It comes in a 2-pack with Petal Pink and white. It's got a satin edge to it and a little bit of stripe in there, so it's kind of cute. And then, so like I said, I use mostly a phrase here instead of just stamping for focal point, but you do see that there's the little phrase tag, a lot smaller than some of the other ones, but it seemed to work. So we have the congratulations on your wedding day. All right, then I jumped to some other online exclusive products. So these aren't new, but you might have either missed them or not seen them yet. So I've got the Frosted Forest collection along with the Seasons of Green and Gold. So I have Seasons of Green and Gold DSP and the Greetings of the Season stamp set. And then this comes from that Frosted Forest, it's too much alliteration, Frosted Forest collection, stamps and dies and really fun stuff in here. And this is that brushed gold foil I was telling you about. So if you can see, it's got kind of, it's like someone took literally like a brush through something that was wet. So it leaves behind those little raised edges. The eyelet one, Tina, I love that eyelet embossing folder. I think that one is so cool. So then the rest of this is olive and mossy meadow. And then I took my enamel effects and I added gold, little ornaments, so to speak, little dots of gold to my tree. Right, Mom? Green. That's everything I think of when I hear that collection. It's, it's called the Seasons of Green and Gold. I'm like, that is exactly, it's a Packer thing. So in that same die set, I switched things up a little bit. There's a lot less neutral happening in here, but same concept. We have a circle that I filled with images. I still have my phrase. This is the snowflake embossing folder down here. This die comes from that frosted forest, but I cut it apart a little bit. This large tree is actually over on this side, but I wanted to have this balance happening. So I cut off one part and just kind of flipped it over to the other side. And it has the little snowy bank as part of the die. It's really cool die. And this is the Winter Meadow Designer Series paper that has that lovely misty moonlight and navy, snowflakey stuff kind of happening all the way through it. So again, seasons greetings. So I built that with my Merry Christmas. Along with this one, it's 2 separate pieces. Happy Holidays. Put those together. So you can do this kind of concept. Like I said, it's a circle, a basic circle shape. You can change that up whether you stamp on it, use it as a background. So for example, these two were used as backgrounds. And then of course this one I stamped on along with the one I did first. So those have been stamped on. And then this is just fussy cut images. So it's not quite die cutting, but again, adding images to things just to fill in the circle space. That's the balancing part of that for you, is to fill in that circle. All right, so let's go back to this one. And like I said at the beginning, if you missed it, I updated the supply list earlier. I realized as I was looking over something, I had forgotten to list this piece of 2x4 cardstock. So make sure you have that going on once you're ready to assemble. Is a piece of 2x4. The image on the my Facebook page has been updated, so it is the correct supply list now. So if you're looking at it now, you've got the correct one. And apologies if you got that earlier and then didn't get back to the corrected version. No worries, it's easy fix. So let's go ahead and see how I might have stepped that up. So as you might have seen in some of these layers, some of these as I went through, I have different layers. So I added a layer behind the whole thing here. This one here, I have a layer behind my otter. So there's a second circle. There's a layer behind that piece of Designer Series paper. And then I've used a couple different embossing folders to add even more depth to the background. So painted texture is on my piece of Pool Party that I have as an extra layer. And the swirly one is on the Calypso coral piece. So it kind of mimics the waves of water. And then I did some die cutting using some of the dies from that set. So I added even more greenery to what he's got going on with him. It's just on top of him as he's swimming through it, as opposed to just being in the background as you saw it here. And then I added just a little bit of white twine and some more of those little river rock kind of pearls, just to have that have a little bit more interest and a little bit of sparkle. They kind of shine a little bit. So that's kind of fun. So again, here is a bunch of new exclusive products that are in the online store. I loved the Otter collection, obviously. I did a whole presentation on it for a team meeting, and I had so much fun creating with those things. And now that I've given that presentation, I will upload the samples and pictures and things and show you all the great things that I found to do with my little Otter collection. And again, you can use Designer Series papers, various embossing folders, circles, die cuts, all those different things that you can use to spruce up this particular layout. So again, adding layers, beefing things up with dimensionals. You guys know what you like, and I would love to see what you've been creating. So if you use this layout, please take a snapshot and upload it to the comments in this video and or the photo album as soon as I have that up. And then I can see what you guys have been doing. So again, thanks for joining me on this Monday. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a good one, everybody. Take care.